The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Luke. Glory to you, O Lord. Great crowds were traveling with Jesus, and he turned and he addressed them. If anyone comes to me without hating his father and mother, wife and children, brothers and sisters, and even his own life, he cannot be my disciple. Whoever does not carry his own cross and come after me cannot be my disciple. Which of you, wishing to construct a tower, does not first sit down and calculate the cost to see if there is enough for its completion? Otherwise, after laying the foundation and finding himself unable to finish the work, the onlookers should laugh at him and say, "This one began to build, but did not have the resources to finish." Or what king, marching into battle, would not first sit down and decide whether with 10,000 troops he can successfully oppose another king advancing upon him with 20,000 troops? But if not, while he is still far away, he would send a delegation to ask for peace terms. In the same way, any one of you who does not renounce all his possessions cannot be my disciple. The Gospel of the Lord. Good morning, my friends. So who remembers this? And I'm not going to sing it. Hold the pickles, hold the lettuce. Special orders don't upset us. All we ask is that you let us serve it your way. Have it your way. That's right, have it your way. So who remembers this? Yeah. Burger King. That's right, Burger King. Some of us are old enough to remember this commercial. The idea was novel at the time, but what I bet you don't know is what the original marketing language said for this commercial. Listen to this. You have the right to exactly have it your way, what you want and exactly when you want it. Because on the menu of life, you are today's special, and tomorrow's, and all the days after that. Yes, you get the picture. We may be the king, but you, my friend, are the almighty ruler. Almighty ruler. Can you believe that that was actually what Burger King originally wrote in their commercial? But is it any different than today? Don't we all want to have it our way? Don't we always want to have it when we want it, where we want it, and exactly how we want it? And I think today, if you listen to the gospel, Jesus said a whole lot about having it your way. He said a lot about it. In fact, today, many of you may think that gospel was very difficult and very harsh. Renounce your family, carry your cross, renounce your possessions. We heard 3 times Jesus say, if you don't do these things, you cannot be my disciple. But my friends, if you have not figured it out by now, being a disciple of Christ is not easy. It is a difficult journey. It is the cross. It is the cross he's asked us to carry. But today I want us to take a different look at this. Step back, because Jesus is not trying to discourage his followers. He wants everyone, including all of us here, to be very clear. What does discipleship mean? What does it entail? Because Jesus is not trying to run people off. He's trying to inspire us to be his disciples. He talks about the love and the cross. But we have to read that in a way that he hung on the cross because he loved us. Because he loved us. And that's what he's trying to inspire. So my friends, my sisters and brothers, I think that as a disciple of Christ, we can have it our way. We can. But the fundamental question in doing that is, which menu of life are you selecting from? Are you selecting from the menu of the world, the one of comfort, of pleasure, of possessions, of wealth? Do you think you have to have it exactly your way and when you want it? Do you see yourselves as the almighty ruler? Because when we choose from the menu of the world, we will fall short of what Jesus wants us to be as his disciple. So there's a second menu. There's the menu of God. For on his menu, you're not the almighty ruler. He is. You don't get what you want exactly when you want it. On his menu, you get the gift of your life. You get to love God and love your neighbor. Because on his menu, you are today's special, and tomorrow's, and the days after that. Because everyone here is a precious son or daughter of God. And God has set a table before you, a menu that is filled with the finest of blessings. So my friends, I believe this is what Jesus is showing us today. He's saying that when you look at the menu of the world, you're going to find yourself being very hungry. You cannot cling to your lesser pleasures, your safeties, your conveniences, because when we do, we neglect his call to love and to have joy. He does not mean for us to turn off what our desires may be. He simply wants us to use them in a way that helps him and helps our neighbor, because we were made by God and we were made for a very specific purpose. He has a special destiny for all of us. So, my sisters and brothers, as you sit here today, ask yourself, what menu of life are you selecting from? What is it? Is it the menu of the world? Is it the menu of God? And if you're confused or you're not sure, join the crowd. Many of us are. And the only way we can figure out what menu is that we're selecting from is through discernment. Discernment. You've all heard that term, and there's a lot of books written about discernment. There's a lot of practices you can follow. But discernment boils down to something very simple. It's simply decision-making that places God in the center of your life, his active will in your life. It's an interior search where you try to align your will with his will. It's discerning, what is he calling you to? What is he asking you to do? It's faithful living. It's listening. And it's eventually carrying out what he is telling us. So, again, you may be confused. Okay, I hear you, Deacon Burt. What does that mean? How do we do that? How do we discern which menu we should be picking from? The answer was here. Jesus and the readings laid it out today. He laid out 3 steps, 3 simple steps in order to discern your journey to follow Christ. 1, communicating with God. 2, planning and commitment. And 3, avoiding distractions. All right, let's start with number 1, communicating with God. What's that? It's prayer. It's simply prayer. It's simply having a dialogue with God. You have to, if you can't hear him, if you don't talk to him, discernment begins there. You have to start with him. You have to enter into a relationship with God. When we begin to listen and to actually see his will in our lives, then that menu becomes a little clearer to us. You have to be honest. You have to tell God what your deepest desires are, what your fears are, what your worries are. Pay attention to how he responds, because God is always speaking, but we're not always listening. The second is planning and commitment. So you've prayed to God, you have some ideas that he's given you. Do something. If he's given you ideas to make steps in your life, you have to begin following those steps. It includes careful and thoughtful planning. You don't just run off willy-nilly. You think about it. Part of that discernment is deciding, how do I carry this out? It's like today, who would build a house without an architect or a builder? You don't do that. And who would go to war without a battle plan? No one takes major steps in their life without first asking someone for their advice. And in our case, that's God. That's whose advice we follow. It involves careful planning. And you have to be committed, because once you start, you can't stop. You need to be committed. You have to hurry in some respects. It reminds me of a story about the devil. The devil had 3 of his demons, and he said, what are your ideas on making people forget about God? And so the first demon said, well, tell them there is no God. The devil said, I tried that. That doesn't work. Been there, done that. The second demon said, tell them there's no sin. And the devil said, no, I've tried that too. And, Jesus came. He got rid of that. So the third one thought about it, and the third one said, I can tell you what to do. Tell them there is no hurry. No hurry. The devil said, brilliant. If I tell them there's no hurry, they'll never get around to doing it. My friends, you have to be in a bit of a hurry. You have to get on with the journey that Christ and God has laid before you, because we only have a limited amount of time in this world. The third thing, the last one, avoid distractions, because on your journey, there'll be tons of distractions. Family, neighbors, careers, habits, addictions, possessions. Jesus talked about all those today. He told you to renounce family, renounce possessions, even renounce your own life. That's pretty hard. By the way, when he said hate, he didn't mean to hate your parents or your wife or your family. Don't do that. He's not asking you to hate. What he's saying to you, though, is that when you put your families in front of the needs of other people who have genuine desires and needs, your neighbor, that's when you have to re-examine and say, I am called to take care of all people. And if I simply spend my time only on my family, I'm not doing what Jesus asked me to do. It's like today in our reading from Paul to Philemon. Philemon was a slave, but Paul said to his owner, you take him back and you love him like a brother, because I love him as a brother. My friends, that's what we have to do. We don't have to renounce all these things, but it simply means don't make them more important than they are. Don't make them more important than the love of God. You're called to serve others, not to serve yourself. So my friends, as you think about this today, you think about the menu that we all live from. Consider this story, a true story. So there was a very successful doctor in New York who had a large family, big practice, money, possessions, house. She had it all. But she decided to leave all of that and go to Africa to run an orphanage for children whose parents had died of AIDS. So she went and she started this orphanage. She had many challenges, government, no money, no help. I mean, you name it. But she persevered, and she prayed every day to God to give her the wisdom and the support she needed to carry on. So one day, she was interviewed by a reporter, and he asked her, "Why would you have left all your family and practice and possessions and come here? And what do you hope to achieve by doing this?" She answered simply. She said, "Nothing I have given up can ever equal the joy and happiness that I receive by helping every little child. I hope that when I die, that I have spent every gift I have been given by God. And I hope to leave nothing behind in this world except a little footprint." My sisters and brothers, do you want to be a disciple of Christ? Do you want to have it your way? It all depends on the menu that you're selecting from. We must strive to pick from the menu of God because it's full of wonderful choices. Don't be deceived by the menu of the world. It may look good, and you may feel like it tastes good, but you will never be fully satisfied, and you will always be hungry. God's menu will satisfy every hunger that you ever have. So, my friends, we must discern the menu that we're living from. Only when we live as Christ has asked us will we have peace and joy. Discipleship requires us to renounce those things that distract us, that cause our attention to be on something other than His dream for our life. Only a life spent chasing God's dream as a disciple will give your life eternal consequences. So that when you come to the end of your time here on earth and you look back on your life, what will you see? What is it? What have you done with your life? My friends, let us all believe that when we do that, if we have selected from the menu of God, the only thing that we hope to leave behind is maybe a little footprint in this world. Amen.